Ding Zion is a shy and determined girl who has a talent for drawing. She and her family have just moved to a new place. Ding Zion is eager to start a new life, make new friends, and of course, get good grades to finally graduate from high school. Her parents are very happy because now they will be neighbors with the Zhu family, with whom they share a great friendship. They also helped her father get a job as a teacher at the same school where his daughter will study. The Zhu family decides to host a welcome dinner for Ding Zion and her family. Living there is their beloved son, Zhu Siyu, who is the smartest and most popular boy in school. Zhu Siyu excels in mathematics, programming, and robotics. Although he is not very sociable, he is very popular due to his good looks and intelligence. While they were having dinner, Ding Zion's mother starts telling her daughter that he is a very handsome boy. Furthermore, she reveals that their engagement has been planned by the grandparents since they were children, which makes everyone uncomfortable with this comment. Zhu Siyu immediately asks what he should do to cancel it, but his parents scold him for being rude. Besides enduring his mother's comments, Ding Zion overhears his friends mocking her, saying that she looks like a monster. She knocks on their door and asks for some toilet paper. Zhu Siyu asks her if she heard everything they said, and she just asks him if he wants to cancel the engagement. When he says yes, she tells him that then he shouldn't cancel it. She goes to the pharmacy to get some medicine because she hit her head during the move, and there she meets Zhu Siyu again. Since she doesn't have enough money to pay for the medicine, he offers to pay for it and tells her to invite him to eat to settle the debt. While they eat, he tells her that his friends don't have bad intentions, but then he mocks the bump on her forehead, which makes her angry, and she leaves immediately. And her first day of classes arrived. Both try to avoid each other as much as possible on their way to school. However, due to life circumstances, they both have to share a seat in their classroom, which makes Ding Zion very uncomfortable. For some reason, both get nervous when they have close contact. During lunch, Ding Zion meets Su Bo Kong, who comes from the same hometown and whom she has known for a long time. He is very kind and attentive to her and tries to make her feel comfortable in her new environment as much as possible. One day, she changes seats to be as far away as possible from Zhu Siyu, and deep down, it seems that he doesn't like this at all. But now he seems even worse with her new seatmate because this guy is quite annoying to her. She meets her father and feels happy to see him there. He knows that his daughter feels strange in that new school, so he gives her all his support, which makes her feel much better. When they go home, they meet Zhu Siyu's mother and him. Her father is worried about her going to school alone, so he asks Zhu Siyu to accompany her every day. Zhu Siyu tells them that it's okay for him to accompany her because they are good friends. The next morning, both go reluctantly, and they can't stop arguing. Her father is worried about her because one of the teachers told him that she doesn't get along well with some boys. So he asks Zhu Siyu as a favor to keep an eye on her. On their way to school, he is attentive to her and takes care of her at all times. In fact, in the sports class, he saves her from being hit by a basketball, which undoubtedly made their hearts beat very fast. Her father gave her some treats to share with her classmates, but as she is very shy, she thinks about it a lot. However, her friend Su Bo Kong encourages her to do it, and this undoubtedly gives her good result. Although one of the girls tried to humiliate her, Zhu Siyu shut her mouth by eating one of her chocolates, even though he doesn't like them. She meets her classmates while looking for her little brother in a playroom, and they all decide to play for a while, and she joins too. She tried to get a dinosaur plush toy in one of the games, but she couldn't. Her little brother started teasing her, and she immediately decided to leave. The next day, Zhu Siyu convincingly persuades the teacher to have Ding Zion as his seatmate. She is surprised to see that he gave her the dinosaur plush toy that she couldn't catch, which moves her, and she thanks him for being considerate. As a joke, he takes it away from her, and in the middle of their struggle, they end up so close that they blush. She feels so happy because everything is improving for her better than she imagined. Although he treats her rudely, in quotation marks, he undoubtedly enjoys being by her side. In fact, He talks more with her and even helps her with her backpack when he knows it's heavy. A new girl returns to school. Her name is Yang Chunzi, a very popular girl who seems to be interested in him. Ding Zion feels quite nervous about this girl because, besides being beautiful, she is intelligent and popular. Anyway, Ju Siyu continues to be nice to her. He takes care of her when she almost falls off a chair, and he also helps her with her homework. By chance, Ding Zion finds out that her father asked Ju Siyu to be considerate with her, and this makes her very angry. That's why when she meets him in class, she acts distant with him. She is walking through the school hallways, and a boy spills his drink on her. Ding Zion feels very embarrassed by this. However, her prince arrives and covers her with his coat. She feels very moved and thanks him. He asks her why she didn't wait for him in the morning. She tells him everything and tells him that he is not obligated to take care of her. He smiles and starts talking about the past, and he remembers that when they were children, he stayed at her house because there had been a flood. He asked where the bathroom was, and she told him it was outside the house, since he didn't know how to use it. He ended up wetting the bed, and she ended up keeping his secret. That's why he immediately recognized her when he arrived in the town. And for that reason, he always wanted to be close to her. Ding Zion laughs and promises to keep his secret. Since they now have more confidence in each other, they plan an outing together. While they eat, she tells him that she would like to explore the city, and he offers to take her wherever she wants to go. At that moment, Su Bo Kong arrives, and our leading man feels quite jealous seeing their closeness. She just laughs seeing him devour all the food like that. They both go to the movies and enjoy a good film. On their way home, they spot their teacher and hide from him. Of course, he can't find out that his students are on a date. While they wait for him to leave, it starts to rain, and he covers her with his shirt. How sweet. The next day, her mother gave her a very bitter remedy to boost her immunity, and he, being attentive, gives her a candy to ease the suffering. She asks him why he has candy if he doesn't eat sweets. He feels shy and leaves. The end-of-year festivities approach, but Ding Zion doesn't celebrate because she's doing homework since the teacher said that if she fails, he would change her seatmates. Ju Siyu doesn't enjoy the celebration at all because he misses her, so they decide to look for her at her house. She agrees and goes with them to see the fireworks, but as there is a lot of traffic, it's hard for them to get there. So he takes her arm and runs with her. And well, they finally end up enjoying the show. From that moment on, she is starting to see him with different eyes, as she has enjoyed every moment with him. And the day comes to take the exam for which she studied so much. Ding Zion feels nervous because if she fails, she will have to change seats with someone else next semester. She catches the flu, and Ju Siyu visits her to deliver some notes, and she feels very embarrassed because her crush is in her personal space. She tells him that she will soon go to her hometown to celebrate the Chinese New Year, and he feels sad and immediately gives her his phone number so she can call him whenever she needs. He can't stop talking about Ding Zion when he's with his mother, so she already suspects that he is falling in love with her, and this undoubtedly pleases her very much. Su Bo Kong also returns to his hometown and takes the opportunity to spend time with her, but she can't stop thinking about her beloved, and he about her, so both can't wait to call each other. That's why when she is about to do it, he calls her first and wishes her a happy new year. Su Bo Kong was watching this, and it certainly made him very sad. Everyone returns to classes again, and she feels happy to know that he is still her seatmate, and yes, both manage to get good grades. To celebrate, she invites him out on the weekend. There, she reveals to him that it's her birthday, and he immediately thinks of a good gift for her. So he decides to take her to a space museum and surprises her with some constellations that appear on her special day. This experience undoubtedly brings them closer. While cleaning the classroom with her friend, a very popular girl named Yukiki arrives and gives her a letter to deliver to Ju Siyu. Her friend tears it up to keep the girl away from him, and this greatly upsets Ding Zion because she thinks it's wrong to tear up other people's letters. They argue about this, and Ding Zion rewrites the letter in her own handwriting and gives it to him. Ju Siyu is really excited about this, especially when he finds out that the handwriting is the same as his beloved's. She continues to receive gifts for him from the girl, and he still thinks it's her, so he decides to give her a gift too. But then, to his sadness, her friend tells him that those gifts are from the other girl, and he immediately gets angry with Ding Xian and tells her to stop being a messenger for others. And he's also upset that she's distancing herself from him without any reason. This undoubtedly makes her very sad. Although they both kept their distance, he left her a note in one of her sketches inviting her to dinner because it was her birthday. She immediately went to find him because she also had a gift she had made for him a long time ago, a cute drawing of the universe. However, she arrives late, and this makes her sad. But he decides to forgive her, and they celebrate again. Just the two of them. She gives him her gift, and he becomes very happy about it. Besides, he has a super surprise for her. He gives her a new cell phone, her first cell phone, so they can keep in touch. She doesn't know how to use the cell phone, and accidentally calls him, which makes her very nervous but happy at the same time. The next morning, he sends her a message saying that he is waiting for her downstairs, so they go to school together. She finally reconciles with her friend, and now they are inseparable again. Yukiki approaches Ding Xian because she wants to be her friend. She apologizes for using her as a messenger. Zhu Siyu finds out about their friendship and clarifies to her that he doesn't like Yukiki. Ding Xian is happy about this and also apologizes to him for what she did with the gifts from the girl. Ding Xian's mother insists that she study art instead of science, but Ding Xian is not happy about this. So, as a small act of rebellion, she chooses science without telling her parents. Her friend tells her that she would surely look cute with bangs. This cheers her up a lot because she wants to look pretty for her beloved. At that moment, she is hit by a ball. Her beloved sees her and immediately takes her to the infirmary. In collusion with her friend and secretly from her mother, the time for a makeover arrives. She feels nervous because she thought her friend would take her to the hair salon, but she reassures her, saying that she is an expert in haircuts. But it seems she wasn't an expert because she cut her bangs more than she should have. Now she can't go out without feeling embarrassed. Poor thing. When her beloved sees her, she feels very embarrassed, but instead, he tells her she looks cute. This makes her very happy. After playing billiards, he accompanies her home and keeps telling her how nice her bangs look. When she gets home, her brother tells her she looks horrible. Her mother is angry because not only did she cut her hair without her permission, but she also decided to study science without her permission. So, she tells her that she will study arts because she said so. After this, Ding Xian's father made a deal with her. He will convince her mother for her if within a month she improves her grades. She promises to do so and tries very hard to fulfill her promise from the following days. She goes with her friends to the mall, and then they invite her to karaoke, but she prefers to go home to continue studying. But when she goes to buy a bottle of water, a guy steals her cell phone, and she chases after him. However, she then gets into a dangerous situation and is chased by several guys. She manages to hide herself, very frightened. At that moment, her beloved Zhu Siyu arrives to rescue her, but he receives a beating. Then, some of his friends come to help him, and the guys leave. It turns out he had escaped from campus because he was preparing for a competition. And even though he shouldn't have been out, he made sure to get her home safe and sound. She manages to get good grades, and her mother finally allows her to study science. One day, she notices that he missed classes, so she goes to his house to look for him. When he doesn't respond, she throws stones at his room, accidentally breaking the glass. When he finally comes out, she learns that he's sick, so she takes the opportunity to prepare something for him to eat and take care of him. That same afternoon, her mother discovers her diary and reads it. Upon seeing that she's in love, she gets very angry and scolds her strongly for not focusing on her studies. She throws her diary out the window so her mother won't keep reading it. And when she goes to retrieve it, Zhu Siyu appears and helps her. But they don't find the diary. Seeing her so sad, he offers his house for her to spend some time there. While they were having dinner, he insists that his mother is not a bad person. So to cheer her up, he shows her a small robot he created, and it dances for her. This certainly cheers her up a lot. She asks to spend the night at his house, and he immediately tells her not to go back to her house. The mother is glad that he is taking her home, and she also asks if she has a boyfriend. He says he doesn't know, which makes her feel more relieved. It seems that in the diary, she never wrote her name, or at least she couldn't read it. She changes seats because she failed one of her exams, but she doesn't tell her beloved anything about it. He spends the whole day feeling sad, and when he asks her, she doesn't tell him anything, so he thinks she's mad at him. Ding Xian feels jealous because he's very close to Yang Chunzi, so she thinks he's in love with her, which angers her a lot. She goes to a theater play, and Zhu Siyu also attends. When they leave, she twists her ankle, and he helps her. Later, they talk, and he asks her why she changed seats. She explains everything to him, and tells him it was a deal she made with the teacher because he believed they were dating, and this would affect their performance. She promised him that if her grades dropped, she would change seats, and so she did. Zhu Siyu felt relieved to know that she wasn't mad at him. On the way home, he gives her a beautiful gift, special tools for her to paint. She finds out that he approached Yang Chunzi to help him get it, so she feels happy to know that her love is not in love with another girl. He encouraged her to participate in a painting contest, which made her mother very angry. Despite this, she ends up winning the contest. One day, she has menstrual cramps, and he attentively gives her a hot water bag. After everyone leaves, she falls asleep, and he skips his physical education classes to bring her a hot drink and cover her with his jacket. There, they both share their goals for the future, bringing them closer together. Now, the holidays have arrived, and everyone in her class is going camping, where they have a good time. When they're about to do an activity in front of a bonfire, the teacher makes them hold hands, which undoubtedly makes them very happy. They stay listening to music and share the same earphone, and he surprises her by making her a private website to use as a diary. Since her other diary got lost, his definitely melts her heart, and she starts to praise him. There comes a moment when they both fall silent, and their hearts race, and when they're about to kiss, he reacts and doesn't kiss her, but he's happy to know that she wanted to kiss him. She receives a call from her mother and learns that her grandmother is hospitalized, so her mother and brother return to their hometown to take care of her. That's why she has to stay home alone because her father is not there either. Zhu Siyu's mother invites her to stay at their house, and she kindly declines. However, during the night, she feels the presence of a thief lurking around her house, which scares her a lot, so she ends up staying at her beloved's house. Now, our lovebirds are closer than ever. They go shopping together. She enjoys seeing his baby photos, and they meet each other whenever they go to the bathroom. She feels more in love with him every day and writes this in her diary. She undoubtedly loves Zhu Siyu just the way he is, with all his imperfections. Since her friend sees her so in love with him, she tells her to confess her feelings before they go to college. That's why when she's alone with him, she gets so nervous that she doesn't say anything. At that moment, the power goes out, he lights a candle, and they listen to the same music. At that moment, they stare at each other, and she tells him she wants to study at the same university as him. Surely he took this as a confession. Ding Xian had to return to her hometown because her grandmother passed away. Her whole family is sad, especially her father, and it breaks her heart to see him like that. It's New Year's, but she and her beloved are not having a good time because his parents have many problems. She cheers him up and sings him a beautiful song. Back to school, he has a surprise for her. Now they are seatmates again. Since they're almost graduating, he tells her it would be a shame if the year ends without her by his side. They're rehearsing for the graduation ceremony, and Zhu Siyu gives a beautiful speech that moves Ding Xian because all the memories with him and everything they went through together to succeed come to her mind. She takes an important test to enter the same university as him and feels very bad because she knows she's going to fail. She goes to a karaoke with her friend and vents her sorrows with her. She also ends up getting drunk. Zhu Siyu sees her in that state and takes her home. Since she can't walk, he carries her on his back, and she confesses that she's afraid they'll separate when they're adults. He tells her that won't happen. She ends up giving him a sweet kiss on his cheek, which moves him very much. She has good grades and is admitted to several universities, but far from her love, she keeps insisting on taking the test next year with the aim of being close to him, but her mother scolds her for this. However, she ends up making that decision. She tells Zhu Siyu about this, and he's surprised that she's doing that for him, but he ends up supporting her. He tells her he'll leave soon, and she tells him she'll miss him a lot. He gives her his little adorable robot as a gift. Everything became difficult for her after their separation. Her father had many problems at school, and she's afraid she made a wrong decision by repeating the year. She vents to Su Bo Kong and tells him how she feels. When Ju Siyu arrives and sees them and immediately thinks the worst. This causes him to start distancing himself from her and ignoring her text messages. Ding Zian feels sad because she doesn't know what's going on with him, and she also feels quite lonely because her classmates have already graduated. She decides to visit him at the university and jumps to conclusions when she sees him with a new girl, holding his arm. In reality, it's a girl who has been bothering him since the moment she arrived. This caused Ding Zian to completely distance herself from him. A year later, she manages to enter the same university as her beloved, so the first thing she does upon arrival is to look for him. But since they won't let her into the men's dormitory, she decides to shout his name. With everyone's eyes on her, he finally comes out and meets her. They have a deep conversation. She confesses her love for him, and when she asks him if he feels the same, he just tells her he can't have a relationship at the moment and asks her to please leave. So he decides to leave, leaving her heartbroken. Later, we discover that he was indeed in love with her. However, the problem was that his father was in trouble, and he really couldn't afford the hospital bills. So, if he couldn't take care of his family, how could he protect Ding Zian? But Ding Zian is determined not to give up so easily. So, despite his rejection and all the cold and distant treatment, she insists on being by his side persistently. She keeps insisting, and in one of the many times she followed him, she tells him to tell her the truth once and for all. He ends up telling her that he will soon study abroad. She goes looking for him again and tells him that she doesn't believe that excuse, so she promises him that she'll always be by his side because she loves him too much. Even if he rejects her 1,000 times, he just ignores her. But deep down, he's also dying. She meets him again, and with a smile on her face, she tells him that she will also go with him to study abroad. He gets angry and finds it absurd that she would be willing to give up everything to be close to him. Ju Siyu now works in a cafe to cover his expenses, and Ding Zian goes to see him as usual. Although he is cold with her, he gives her a decaffeinated drink because he knows that if she drinks coffee, she won't sleep all night. When his shift ends, he sees her studying and offers to walk her home. She desperately wants to hold his hand and settles for imagining it, seeing their shadows. Just as he turns around, she stumbles into him, and he catches her in a very romantic way. Both of them can't help feeling butterflies in their stomachs. The next day, she goes to the cafe to study. There, he learns that she's studying for one of the tests needed to study abroad. She passes the test and feels so happy that she immediately goes to tell her beloved that she got into his team. He tells her that's just the beginning, not to get too excited because getting that opportunity is difficult. She feels sad because of his pessimism. He implies that it's not that, but that she should do things she enjoys. She doesn't pay attention because she's determined to be by his side just because. She stares at him so much during working hours that he gets distracted and makes mistakes in his programming. And instead of studying, she spends her time drawing his face. She begs him to please help her with one of the tasks. He reluctantly does it and insists again that she leave that complicated career aside and do what she likes. When they both leave, she goes back to the lab. He sees the lights go out and goes to look for her. While searching for her in the dark, she scares him from behind, and they both fall onto the table. Just as she's about to kiss him, the light comes back on, interrupting them. The next day, she argues with him and asks him if he really wants her to abandon that career. He says yes, and she becomes very sad because it seems like he doesn't care about her at all. And she cries because he doesn't see the effort she has made for him all these years without receiving anything in return. Thinking that he's not in love with her at all, she tells him to leave her alone forever and walks away. So, she decides to do what she loves, which is drawing, and she's so good at it that she gets a job at a major publishing house. One day they pass each other, and she ignores him, which hurts him a lot. He regrets it and tells his friend that he just wanted her to be happy doing what she likes and not to sacrifice herself for him. Then he receives an invitation from Su Bo Kong to dinner. He accepts, and when he attends, he encounters none other than his beloved. After a very uncomfortable dinner, Su Bo Kong talks to him privately and tells him that he has liked Ding Xian since they were children, and as he knows he hurt her a lot, he asks him to stay away from her. Zhu Siyu firmly tells him that his relationship with Ding Xian is not his problem and that she will only be with him for life. Ding Xian hears this and runs away. He chases her and apologizes for being so harsh with her. He also confesses that he has reflected and can't imagine a life without her. Ding Xian tells him that it's his habit for her to always be behind him, so she's tired of not getting anything in return. All this undoubtedly made him reflect a lot. Although he tries to be by her side, she continues to ignore him. Later, Zhu Siyu visits his father in the hospital and is moved to see that he has patched things up with his mother. Also, he has a deep conversation with him that makes him reflect. Seeing how their relationship suffered because of his stubbornness made them lose quality time together. Moreover, talking about his personal and sentimental life, his father told him not to use him and his mother as an excuse because they can take care of themselves. This filled him with so much energy that he was now determined to win over his beloved Ding Xian. Everyone in their class goes on a vacation trip, and Ding Xian is also invited. He tries to find a way to be alone with her and invites her out. She rejects him, and he opens up to her, apologizing for everything, saying that he regrets not being there for her during the toughest times. After a long chat, she asks him if he really knows what love is. However, before he can answer, they are interrupted at that moment. He arranged with his friends for her to go to the amusement park, precisely for a date. Although she was a little angry at first, she ended up enjoying every moment with him. Plus, he surprises her by dressing up as a plush tiger, which makes her very happy. At night, when they're about to go home, it rains heavily, and he protects her with his shirt, just like on their first date. As they reminisce about the past, they finally share a romantic and very tender kiss. She feels very nervous and confused, so she immediately runs away. Later on, she tells him not to get his hopes up because that kiss was just an accident. But our hero is determined to win her over no matter what. So, after rescuing her from a room where one of the jealous girls from her class locked her in, our hero rescues her and finally decides to express his feelings by telling her that he loves her and formally asking her to be his girlfriend. However, before she can respond, they are interrupted by the guard of the place they were in. But Zhu Siyu is not alone in this because Su Bo Kong also competes with him for her love. However, despite this, she ends up rejecting Su Bo Kong and the luxurious gifts he gave her and prefers to be with her beloved. He talks to her and promises her that he will never hurt her again. She is deeply moved by his beautiful words and agrees to be his girlfriend, definitively. As they become official partners, they become inseparable, and when their classmates see them, they undoubtedly melt with love at the sight of them. Ding Xian begins to succeed as a cartoon illustrator, which makes her very happy. However, the company she worked for was accused of copyright infringement, so she has to pay a large sum of money. This is the perfect opportunity for the now successful businessman Su Bo Kong to try to win her over. So without telling her anything, he pays off the debt. She already had everything ready to pay for it, so she feels very uncomfortable when she finds out that Su Bo Kong cancelled it. So, when she goes to see him to talk, she finds him drunk. Seeing him in that state, she decides to take him home in a taxi, and when they arrive, they accidentally fall onto the bed, and he confesses his love to her. But she rejects him and tells him that she is already in a relationship. He apologizes, and she feels devastated because after all, he is her lifelong friend. So she immediately goes to her love, and when she sees him, she bursts into tears. Ding Xian goes with Zhu Siyu to visit his parents, and they are really happy to see them. When they finish eating, both of them are nervous about how they might react to the news of their relationship, especially her. But the parents already suspect something, so they end up making their other son confess to them, and if he tells them that they are dating. But not everything is so bad because the father immediately feels happy about this and gives his full support to his daughter. To their surprise, their mother, whom she feared the most, also ends up supporting them. She only said that she was angry because they didn't tell her earlier. She always thought that Zhu Siyu was the right one for her. With the parents' approval, they both feel relieved and more in love than ever. Back in the city and at university, Ding Zian feels bad because she thinks he is treating her like a child, and not like the romantic boyfriend she dreamed of. Her friends suggest a makeover to make her look more mature, so she dresses beautifully to impress him. When all his classmates see her, they are impressed. But when he sees her, he is not impressed at all. On the contrary, he tells her that she would catch a cold if she dressed like that. She tells him to stop treating her as if they were in high school, that she wishes he would treat her with affection and delicacy. In response, he hugs her and apologizes for being so stupid and promises her that he will change in that aspect. This couple is truly adorable. She returns to her room on campus, but the door was already closed, so she has no choice but to spend the night in her beloved's room. He decides to sleep on the couch, and she lies down on his bed, but neither of them can sleep. She asks him to sleep beside her, and he does so without hesitation. Both of them were really nervous. He just holds her hand, and she asks him why he is so nervous. So he just pats his chest, and they both fall asleep. Ju Si-yu is sent to jail on suspicion of espionage in the company he works for. But after much investigation, he was declared innocent. When she goes to see him at his house after being released, he tries to act tough. But he breaks down in tears and apologizes for making her worry so much. She comforts him and tells him that he doesn't have to worry about that she loves him and will always be there for him. Ju Si-yu's parents return to the town after the father is discharged from the hospital. Both of them still don't know about the relationship between the two. So when Ding Zian's mother jokingly mentioned their children's childhood engagement, she tells her that that was in the past. And when she finds out about their relationship, she feels a little discouraged by it because she thinks her son is not good enough for Ding Zian due to his sad family situation. When our lovebirds find out about this, they feel quite sad, but they decide to be together no matter what. He notices that one of her shoelaces is untied, so when he ties them, he takes the opportunity to pull out a beautiful ring and ask her to marry him. Both cry, and she accepts to be his wife again. How touching. The mothers talk and finally clear up the misunderstanding, and very excitedly, they end up accepting that they will be family. Back in the city, she decorated his room and asked him if he liked how her home turned out. He very seductively tells her not my home, our home. So they end up spending their first night together. He decides to give up the opportunity to study abroad, and Ding Zian is very angry about this. She tells him that she doesn't want to be an obstacle in his career. She promises him that she won't go anywhere, and he promises that he will come back. So they seal it with a romantic kiss. The night before he leaves, they both feel very, very sad. He really doesn't want to leave, but she tells him to go, and that she will wait for him. Now they start a long-distance relationship. They call each other on every occasion and celebrate special occasions together via video call. 2 years later, Ding Zian graduated with a degree in computer science. While celebrating and taking photos with her classmates, her beloved Ju Si-yu appears, and she couldn't be happier about it. He gives her a romantic kiss, and her friends end up filming them too. When they return to their basement apartment, he tells her to look for his passport inside the box on the top shelf that contains all the little drawings he gave her over the years. As she was about to open the last box, she found a beautiful ring inside it. He kneels down and proposes to her again. She accepts again and happily puts on her second ring. It's the anniversary of their old school, and they both attend and walk through its halls, which by the way bring back good memories. There, the teacher confidentially told Ding Zian that Ju Si-yu applied to study arts because he thought she would. But when she showed up in the teacher's room presenting her application to study science, he changed to science as well. Then they ended up in their old classroom, where they remembered the beautiful memories they had there. There she notices a phrase he wrote for her on his desk. He actually wrote her name, but disguised it with another word. He reveals another secret and shows her his biology notebook in which he wrote back then, "I like you, silly." She smiles and says that she already knew it, that she always knew it, and that turned out to be their big secret. Yes, friends, their confession of love when they were young but they never told each other anything. And so ends this beautiful love story with our protagonists holding hands, happy to be together, and remembering the beautiful moments they lived during their youth. Our secret teaches us that love can endure over time, despite any adversity. So, if you like youthful dramas with a happy ending, this is definitely the one for you. If you are a fan of dramas and would like to keep watching videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and like so you don't miss the premieres of the next videos.